the quintessential tools that you must have as a raw vegan. Welcome back for another video to recalibrate with Nate. And in this video, I have a few things laid out here, some of the quintessential tools that are a must-have in my particular opinion as a raw foodie. So before we get into that, I want to let you know, click the link in the description box below. Check out the ultimate vegan health and weight loss bundle that is going on right now. There's over 120 different items in this particular bundle. If you have purchased bundles from us in the past, this one is a completely different bundle. And so be sure to check that out. It's over $6,300 worth of value in this particular bundle. Over 110 contributors. There's, I believe, like a half a dozen different doctors in this particular bundle. Just a wealth of information. There's even a 25-hour yoga teacher training course in there. Live workshops that you can tap into, conferences and stuff. I mean, it's an amazing value. Be sure to check that out. And what we'll do is we'll get into this. I wanted to share with you the main tools that are a must-have as a raw vegan or raw foodie. Now, of course, these will apply to other diets as well, but as a raw foodie, I'm thinking like, what's the most important thing that we actually need? If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. And if you're a returning subscriber, it's good to see you back here again. So let's get into this. This is very, very important right here. Okay, so what is this? This is just a knife, right? I will click the links in the description down below to the list of all of the special tools that we really enjoy using. These here we got at Walmart, right? It's just a Walmart knife. It doesn't really matter. I have had knives that cost several $100s. I still have these knives that of course cost several $100s. They last a lifetime, but all you need is a cheap, simple knife, $5. What I really like about this knife in particular is sheath. Right, so I can put this in my pack. Ooh, careful, don't stab yourself, Nate. Put this in my pack and it's not going to cut stuff up, or if I put it in like a bag or something, rather, if we're gonna bring it someplace. This is a very, very important tool to have, a knife, right? When we think about it, what do we need as a raw vegan? A knife and a cutting board. We just need to be able to have a surface to cut stuff up on. That is essentially the most important thing. Now, of course, knives are, like I said, it doesn't really matter. Some people are like, where do you get your knives and what kind of knife should I get? Honestly, I have like some $5 Bed Bath & Beyond knives that I've had for years. And the most important thing about a knife is to keep it sharp. So what I've got here is I've got this knife sharpener. This one here just has a little stone, right? I'll get a close up here for you for this. But essentially, it's important to, when you do sharpen your knives, you got to keep in mind that there's microscopic pieces of metal that are possibly coming off of your knife or staying kind of clinging to the blade. So keep that in mind. You don't want to be sharpening your knife around food that you're eating. Of course, maybe it doesn't concern you, but just I think about that as like, kind of interesting. Of course, if you were real concerned about it, it might be best to sharpen your knife like in the shop or your garage or something like that if you have it, and not do it in the kitchen at all. So a lot of times when I do the knife sharpening, I wet the stone, I wet the blade, I do my sharpening, and then I take a rag and wipe the blade clean before I even go into doing any kind of cutting. So that's an important tool though, is all you need is a knife sharpener. You don't need anything fancy, just a good knife sharpener, something that you can retune your edge to, and then something you can polish that edge with. And of course, I don't have the rod, to sharpen the knife, but those things are amazing as well. But really, if you keep your knife blade sharp, this is a cheap knife. This is literally like a $5 knife, and it cuts tomatoes that simply. And the tomatoes that are on their way out, like, they're very soft, those can be kind of tricky to cut, especially if you have a dull blade. It just smashes the tomato. So if you keep your blade sharpened, man, this is really the best way to go. Just like any old knife, keep the blade sharp, keep it clean. That's gonna serve you well. So that being a very important tool, we're gonna set those right here. And then of course, like I was saying, the cutting board. Hey, look, it looks like a little heart, right here. How pretty is that? I basically washed this just a moment ago and it's drying with a heart on there. So it's showing some love, you guys. Isn't that cool? So this is just a flexible cutting board, and we got a pack of them, a pack of 5 or something. I believe these are also in the list, and I'll put the whole list. It's a PDF that I'll link in the description box below, and we are affiliates with Amazon on some of these products, so we do make a little commission if you do purchase through our link. But I love these cutting boards. Now, of course, they're very thin, right? Because obviously you can bend them and such, but that's what I love about them. So when you're cutting your stuff up, it's easy to grab the stuff and kind of, bend the thing and pour it into your bowl or whatever. And of course, then there's the bamboo cutting board. Bamboo cutting board is another great tool to have as well. It's going to be a little bit nicer on your blade cutting into a wood or bamboo cutting board. So, you can lay these two together. That's kind of nice. A bamboo cutting board is going to be a bit more of an investment, so to speak, than say, these like plastic, I'm not sure what kind of a plastic these are, but these are like plastic cutting boards. So, but if you keep your bamboo cutting board clean, you can wash it with, of course, a little bit of warm water. And if you keep it oiled with like some mineral oil, it will last a long time. I've had this cutting board for nearly 7 years, and it looks just so beautiful just because I keep it oiled up, I keep it clean. You can also do take some lemon and just rub the lemon all over it, right? To kind of disinfect it, so to speak, and dry anything wood you want to wash right away or rinse and then dry it. And that's of course what's so cool about the raw vegan diet, especially when you use no oil, is you don't need soap to cut through the oil, right? You just rinse it and dry it with a rag. So a knife and a cutting board, essentially that's all you need, right? There's not really much more that you need aside from a knife and a cutting board. Now, I've got some rags here. We use these Norwex rags. They're a microfiber rag. That's a really nice piece of equipment to have as well. It's not, say maybe necessity right off the get-go, but these are the rags that, you could use paper towels or whatever, but these are the rags that I use when I do I'm washing stuff up. I like to be able to keep stuff real clean right away. And what's cool is, you've got a good high quality microfiber rag, like say for these Norwex rags. I really love these. You can wash them and use them over and over and over again for years to come, right? So, we've really steered away from paper towels years back. We still do have some paper towels, but we really strive to just use these for pretty much everything. So another thing would be your fork and spoon. And I really like bamboo forks. Sometimes I get a little excited when I'm eating and I might bite down a little too fast. I don't slide the fork out of my mouth. I have broken some bamboo. I've actually chipped my tooth. I did a tooth chip on my front tooth, biting down on a metal fork. And it was that point I'm like, you know what? I need to go with a wood fork because I feel like I have a tendency to kind of bite, you're stabbing salad or whatever, and sometimes you just, that it's just my thing. I don't know what, my problem is, but I don't slide the fork out. Sometimes I bite it. So this way I ensure I'm not going to chip my teeth. And I just really like the feel of the bamboo fork. There are certain forks there's several different kinds of forks out there, wood forks and stuff, and sometimes I don't really like the way that wood feels in my mouth, but I really do like these. I'll see about how I can get the link for these. We got these actually at this spot in Ashland, Oregon called Paddington Station, and they're $2 a piece, right? But man, they last so long. The biggest thing though, as well, this is an A-Cook spoon. This is my favorite spoon, absolutely favorite spoon in the entire world. I bring it with me everywhere I go. I've used it for years. The biggest thing though, anything wood, your cutting board, your wood utensils, your wooden bowls, you want to wash them, rinse them out, and then dry them really good, right? Dry them. Don't let them sit in water. Don't keep your wooden bowl in the sink with water in it. That is going to harm the wood. So keeping your wood stuff clean and dry is really important. And of course, being a raw vegan, it's simple. Just rinse it, dry it, done. So we've got the knife, the cutting board, of course, the spoon, the fork. You know, I use this spoon for basically eating nice cream and soups. Now, if I am having melon or say like mango, really good mango, I use a metal spoon because it cuts into it a lot nicer than the wooden spoon. But I use the wooden spoon for pretty much everything aside from melons and mangoes. Now, the next most important thing, the bowl. You gotta have a bowl. And as you can see the size of this bowl, this is a big bowl. This is like a serving bowl. But when you are eating a raw vegan diet and following a raw vegan diet, eating predominantly raw foods, big salads are a must. You have to have a big bowl. This is not just your average little bowl. A lot of bowls might be like this big, right? And yeah, you gotta have more. If you've tuned into my content before, I'm big on making sure you're eating enough, and this can ensure that you're eating enough. Now, you can make a nice salad in here, a good sized salad with a lot of ingredients in here, and this gives you room to be able to mix it up and stir it up with your fork without having it spill out all over the place. So that's kind of how we evolved into using big bowls. It is a lot easier to mix up your salad and kind of toss your salad, so to speak, without having to like toss it on the floor, have it fall out. If it's a small bowl and it's stacked, sometimes it's hard to really mix it really good. So, but one word of caution, using a big bowl, sometimes it's easy to make massive salads because sometimes you just end up making them bigger and bigger. I feel like our salads have gotten a bit bigger since we have used a bigger bowl. So keep that in mind. Same thing, I think that we got some of the bowls we were getting in Canada. Alyssa got the bowls, from Superstore up there in Canada. And these ones here were actually from Walmart as well. We saw them. We don't shop at Walmart a lot. I don't really, it's not my favorite place to shop necessarily, but sometimes, you're in a pickle, and we needed some bowls, and we were rolling through and we saw these. They were like $5. So this is a really nice bowl. Same thing, rinse it. Give it a rinse. When you're done with your salad, wipe it dry, put it away. You're right? No sense in having like dishes all over the place. I'm working on a kitchen course actually right now to share with you guys, to go in depth into all of the different little pieces of equipment that I like to use, as well as how to keep stuff clean. Because I am really kind of OCD when it comes to in the kitchen. I like to prepare a nice meal, and I like to clean as I go. So that way, when I am sitting down with my meal, the kitchen's pretty much clean. I don't like to have a bunch of stuff all over the place, and it's so much easier as a raw vegan to keep everything clean because you're not using oil. You just have to rinse it, dry it. So realistically, my friends, check this out. This is all you need right here. The bowl, the cutting board, the knife, the fork, the spoon, the towel, right? That's it. That is essentially it. Now, of course, I'm gonna slip this over here. I want to show you, aside from that's where you'd start. If you're just getting into this, you don't have to worry about it. All you realistically need is the knife and the cutting board, right? A bowl and a fork, maybe a spoon. That's it. Something to sharpen your knife is bonus, because keeping your knife sharp is definitely going to help when you are cutting through things. Less likely to damage the food that you're cutting. So like I said, the soft tomato, right? So having a knife sharpener is kind of a bonus, as well as the towel. So let's get into some of the other things. This here is another really handy piece of equipment. This is just a orange and lemon reamer. Now, I don't know, the light is I've got a ring light here. It's kind of just making it glow. You can't really see. I'll see about getting a close up here for you guys, but this is really cool. It just sits right on top of a wide mouth mason jar. And we use a lot of limes and lemons. We drink a lot of water, so we have lemon water or lime water, and we use a lot of lemon juice and lime juice in our dressings. So this is a really important piece of equipment. We use this, probably 6 times or more a day. So that's why it made it into the room, because I was like, what? This is something I want to share with you. Like I said, all of this stuff is linked in the actual list, but any kind of lemon juicer or lime juicer you may have is going to work fine. And, when I didn't have, say if I am out and I don't have something and I'm doing a lemon with seeds, you know, I have clean hands, right? And I'll just squeeze the lemon and have the juice drip through my fingers. I'm able to just catch the seeds in my hand, right? And let the juice kind of go through my fingers. And that way I'm not putting the seeds into my dressing or something like that. But, you know, any kind of orange juice or lemon juice or something like that's really going to be handy as well. So that's another piece of equipment that is really beneficial. Now, okay, now you're going to the next level, right? You've got the necessities, the bare essentials out of the way. The next most important piece of equipment, in my personal opinion, is the blender. A high-speed blender is so critical. It's so critical. It makes everything. It makes a world of difference. Okay, so I've got a couple crafts here. I want to show you this one over here. This is a little special one. But essentially, this is it right here. This machine right here, it's an investment. You know, this is a, I believe that brand new, this is around $700, $800. And I got it refurbished from Vitamix. It was a reconditioned machine. I think they had it as a demo. It was still brand new. And it came with an 8-year warranty. I think I paid right around $550 for it. But originally it was like $700, maybe $800. So I was like, wow, I'm saving at least a couple $100 getting the reconditioned one. And it's gonna come with an 8-year warranty. Because I was letting them know, I'm like, what if I burn this motor up? And they're like, just send it back, we'll send you a whole new one. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I got it on a payment plan because, you know, that's a pretty hefty chunk to bite off, especially becoming a raw foodie or someone who is like, you know what, I really want to take this serious, but my gosh, I've got to drop $500 on a blender. So that could be a tough pill to swallow, so to speak, right? But this has been just priceless. Same thing as the lemon juicer, like, or the knife and the cutting board. We use this thing like 3 to maybe 7 times a day, every single day for over 6 years, nearly 7 years. This machine has been incredible. This is the 6300 model. It's just a real basic model. It does have the soups and desserts and smoothie preset on here, and then it's got a variable speed 1 to 10, you know, and then of course the pulse button. It's nothing fancy, but it is an incredible machine. There are other machines, 5200 series, as well as some other ones that don't even have a number. I'm not sure what model those are, but they don't have the same kind of strength that this particular motor has. I have had this thing just perform so well making batches of nice cream. I'm taking the reamer and just really forcing those bananas into the blades, and this thing it just does not freeze up. It doesn't overheat and stop. It's been an incredible piece of equipment. Now this is another key aspect to this particular tool, and it's this tamper, right? It's the tamper wand, magic wand, whatever you want to call it. This is the key component to this particular blender. Okay, so when you do work this blender, you know, a lot of you might be familiar with a Vitamix, so maybe there's some of you out there who aren't. But you've got your regular lid that you can, you know, put on top that has this top piece that if you're just blending up something, you don't need to tamp anything down, right? You can use this lid, it just pops on there. But what is so cool is, say you are making something where you actually need to force the ingredients into the blades, you've got this tamping wand, and let's see if I can scoot a little closer here. And the tamping wand, it just goes right near those blades, right? So you're able to really force whatever it is that you're trying to make into those blades. That's a huge, huge bonus to a high-speed blender like the Vitamix. I believe the Blend Tech also has the tamping wand, but essentially that's why I wanted this, because I wanted to be able to make small batches of like sour cream with nuts. And you know, it showed that you could make nut butter with this, and of course banana ice cream. And the best way to make the banana ice cream is to be able to force the ingredients into the blades. Now, before I got the high-speed blender, I had a Ninja, and the Ninja worked great. I used it for years. I also had a bullet. What was it called? I think it was just called a magic bullet. No, it wasn't a magic bullet. Maybe it was just called the bullet. Can't remember exactly what it was. And that did okay. Of course, you know, these are definitely better than some of the other brands out there that don't even blend really anything. This really just kind of sucks stuff down into the blades, the way the blades are shaped. And I do like having this narrow base craft right? It's not the really wide base because I am able to make smaller batches of sauce, and I don't have to have, like more, make bigger batches having that wider base. But if you have the wide base, it's still going to be a great tool to have. So you already have the Vitamix. This is an incredible piece of equipment. I can't praise this thing enough. This thing is the workhorse of our kitchen. Gosh, I don't even know what we would do. I mean, I was thinking like, I don't know what we would do without this. We would buy another one right away. This is such an amazing piece of kit. Definitely making smoothies, dressings, soup bases, sauces, all these sorts of things. Man, this thing's amazing. And what's so cool is you can run the machine for a good couple minutes and it actually blends so good and so fast to where it actually warms it up, to where when you take off the lid, there's like even a little bit of steam coming out, right? And you can feel it. You're like, ooh, that's warm. So you can make like hot soups, and of course, like if you really want to keep it raw, you can have one of those laser thermometers just to make sure that it is like 115 degrees or 110 degrees, right? Of course, like the rule of thumb with raw is like 115 to maybe 118, nothing over 118 degrees, and it's still considered raw. So, I don't know how. I actually just got that laser thermometer so I can actually test how hot does the stuff actually get. But it's warm to the touch. It's definitely not hot enough to burn your mouth, but it does make some good soups. Now, we haven't run it for longer than 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe it does get hot enough to where it would burn your mouth, but of course we're trying to keep everything raw. That's why we like to nerd out with the raw foods, so we keep it at that point, at that level. So now this is a really key piece of equipment. It did come with this carafe. Now there's another addition if you want to bump up the next level. This is the BioChef. And the BioChef is an actual special carafe, right? You've got a different lid, and it comes with its own carafe. It's got a different kind of blade configuration, but it fits right on top of the Vitamix base, which is really cool. But you've got this lid that has the rubber seals, or really nice rubber seals around. And of course, you can take this off to like wash everything, keep it all nice and clean. And it's got this other special lid on top. But what is so cool about this is you've got a little release valve here. You pop that on, squeeze it down on. The best way that I find is to take that off because it's so airtight that with the actual top lid, it's kind of hard to push that on. So you push that on, you put this lid on, and then you've got this here, which is the BioChef vacuum, right? It's a little vacuum. So you pop that on top, you can plug it into the wall, or it does hold batteries, so you can run it off of battery without wire, or without being plugged into the wall. But of course we use it so much, we just keep it plugged into the wall. This sucks the air out of the carafe. So say you're making smoothie, dressing, soup, right? Sauces, any of these sorts of things, it's sucking the air out of the container, the carafe, to where when you blend it, you start to blend, there's no air in there. It actually sucks the walls of this top gets sucked down. So when you blend it, everything is so much thicker and creamier. It's not all foamy and frothy, which sometimes we want a frothy smoothie, so we will use this blender without vacuuming, or we'll use this top here. Essentially, this one here is mainly used for banana ice cream, right? Or if we're making sour cream or some sort of what else do we make? The quiche, right? We want to be able to use the tamping wand with it. Now you can't use the tamping wand necessarily with this because it will hit the blades. You'd have to put your fingers up here to make sure that the tamping wand doesn't go down and hit the blade, but that's dangerous. I don't even really like to. I keep this one just for anything that we're vacuuming. Now the vacuuming though, basically, if I were to recommend anything out of all the stuff, and of course there's other things like food processor, dehydrator, right? All these other things that are really handy. I would say the first thing, aside from getting your knife, your cutting board, your bowl, your fork, right? Your knife sharpener, get the high-speed blender, and then invest on the BioChef. The BioChef I'm completely sold on. It took me years, it took both Liz and I years to actually invest in it. We were like, yeah, what is the vacuum blend? What's that all about? And then we started actually thinking about it. We're like, you know what, that really makes sense, because the concept is stuff starts to degrade when oxygen hits it, right? So imagine this has like, you know, this much air. Maybe you've got this much mixture down here. Maybe you're making like a sauce base or a soup base or something. You've got all this air in there. You're just blending all that air into everything. So it's oxidizing even faster. So it's not going to stay as fresh as long. When you blend under a vacuum, there's no air in there. Essentially, the stuff just tastes different. It tastes different, it looks different, it's creamier, it's thicker. We would make like a marinara and soup, and they would be like foamy. And you know, of course, sometimes that can even really mess with you. Like maybe you're ingesting all this air when you're drinking a smoothie or eating a soup, and it's kind of foamy because you're ingesting all this air. Another thing though, that you're not getting gassy when you are, you know, drinking your smoothie or your soup or something that has been blended in a vacuum. Like we find that we don't have the same kind of bloaty feeling when we have smoothies that have been blended under vacuum. Another really cool aspect is that you can store them in a jar, right? And it'll stay fresher for longer. Which that leads me to my next piece of equipment, which would be some way to seal your dressing or your smoothie or your soup or whatever, your sauce, in a container to where it is going to stay fresher longer. So to add to the vacuum concept is these vacuum sealable lids, right? They just go on the wide mouth mason jar. So you've got this lid, and it's just this little plug on top, a little O-ring. You can lift it to let the air out, and it comes with a pump. This pump here we have used on top of the jar, and it does work, but this pump is the pump that comes with the lids, and you can actually pump it a lot stronger and really get all the air out. So say you're making your smoothies or your dressings, and you want to store them in the fridge and have them stay fresh for a long time. These lids have completely changed the game. We basically just started using these lids realistically just this last summer. We weren't sealing stuff under vacuum. So it's blended under vacuum, right? Say your smoothie or your dressing, and then if you store it under vacuum, like a dressing, a fat-free dressing just doesn't taste the same after it has been blended, say under, without vacuum and stored. Like the next day, it tastes off. It just doesn't taste the same. It's still like edible, but it just doesn't have that fresh flavor. If you blend it under vacuum and the next day, you can definitely tell that it isn't as, it's not really stale, but it just doesn't taste as fresh, right? The next day though, you can tell the difference between a vacuum blend stored in a regular jar with a regular lid, as opposed to just blending with, no vacuum, right, in the original craft. But when you add this extra bit, and these lids aren't very much, I'll put the link is in the list as well. I think it comes with 16 of them. We just get them off Amazon, and I would imagine no matter where you are in the world, when there's a will, there's a way. You can find some sort of a lid. We've actually got a video showing you how you can make your own vacuum sealable lids. And I'll have to do like a good close-up video of that in itself, because I think that is a really fun one. Maybe I can put a card or something up here saying, or leading you to that other video that we have where Alyssa was showing you how to make the lids. But this is a killer system, right? The vacuum sealable lids to keep your stuff fresher in the fridge. So you made a dressing, you got this whole thing full of dressing, vacuum it out. Of course, you're not gonna fill it to the very top. You wanna make sure you leave a space like an inch or so to pull that air out. Put it in the fridge, it's gonna stay fresh, like so much fresher under a vacuum lid, because essentially makes sense, right? You're pulling the rest of the air of the jar out. Right? So stuff isn't oxidizing in there or like oxidizing the top layer. And especially if it's blended under vacuum and stored under vacuum, game changer. These are really just the next level pieces, my friends. Like, check this out. Like, you don't need this. This isn't like something that absolutely, like, I honestly feel that you start here, you need this. This is game changer. Smoothies, dressings, sauces, soups, so important to have. an amazing tool. But upping the game, you get the vacuum blended craft, right? Like I said, it took us, like we didn't have, 4 years I was a raw foodie before I even got this. And we just started using the lids just this last year. So, you know, I've been raw foodie for 6 years this month. Actually, this is my 6th year on the 17th. Wow, the 17th. So that's 6 years. So, but really, I mean, I just started using these 5.5 years in. I mean, I really wish I would have known about this so much longer ago, because this is so huge. You can, and really, like, whatever you want to store in your mason jar. This is a killer piece of equipment. I'd say these combined, magical. This is of course a lot cheaper than getting the vacuum blender, the BioChef. So say if you were to blend, you know, with your original craft, right? You're blending with this one, you know, you could store it in here at least, and that's going to be better than, right, not storing it under vacuum. So I really do feel that these are a great tool to have as well. But yeah, you know, so here we go. We're going through it. Knife, cutting board, bowl, knife sharpener, right? These things are major. Invest on a high-speed blender. Invest on some vacuum sealed mason jar lids. And then invest on the BioChef vacuum craft where you can blend under vacuum. So key. Game changer. The lemon reamer, lemon juicer. Those, in a sense, are all you need to really have a great time on this diet as a raw vegan. The last thing I wanted to add, oh, I forgot. This is a really important thing. Some headphones, some earmuffs to protect your ears when you are blending, because it's pretty loud, right? And if you're blending a lot, like we blend a lot, and I make a lot of nice cream. I make a batch of nice cream pretty much every single day. It's loud. I'm right next to the blender, and this is a really, I mean, these were like $15, right? They're just for like mowing your lawn, or, you know, maybe you're blowing leaves or something like that. You know, you don't have to like buy like a super expensive pair. Something like this is so key. Honestly, I don't like to blend anything without them now, because the decibels coming out are so intense. It's got to be over time doing some sort of damage to your ear, right? Like, it's important to protect our hearing, and this is a really, that's an extra addition, you know what I mean? But it's loud, like I said. So if you do make the investment, get the blender, get those earphones. I don't think a lot of people wear those, but it has really been something that I love now, because I know I'm not like damaging my ears. The decibels, like I said, the sound that comes out of these machines, it's loud. You know, when I'm doing ice cream, it almost sounds like a jet, you know, like it is, you know, for somebody who's never heard it before, they might be thinking like, what the heck are you doing? Like, are you breaking your machine? Because it's a really loud process. So protect your ears, really important. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to go over, just getting some screened lids, right, to be able to sprout in some jars. These are mung beans. You can just, this is 2 days. Like, I cannot, the light is so weird. The 2 days, I mean, these mung beans are ready to go, you know, packed. Like, when I put them in the jar, like, it's only like this many beans on the bottom, and it's like a packed jar full of living food. So this is a really cool little system. I'll have this linked as well. You know, there's different systems that you can go with, but this just holds the 2 jars. It's got the little ceramic base. I like it. It looks clean. It's got a nice look to it, and it's very efficient. These are stainless steel lids, so they're not going to rust. And this is another great and pretty inexpensive piece of kit to throw into your kitchen. I don't really care what diet you follow. Sprouting is something that everybody should be doing. It really does not matter what kind of diet you follow. Everybody should be sprouting some seeds and some legumes. They're easier to digest, and they're, you know, really nutritious. It's a living food. You know, there's a lot of amazing things happening in the sprouting world, right? When you start sprouting, it's going to be beneficial. And then you can add the sprouts to everything that you make, right? It's just another great way to get in some good nutrition. So that's essentially it, right? Like here, I'll put the cutting board and the bowl back up here. We'll get everything back up on top here. This is it. Like, you know, hopefully that, you know, you guys understood everything. It wasn't like too much, but I kind of just wanted to go through and talk about some of the most important things I feel like that'll really help you as a raw vegan. And I'd say, you know, I mean, of course, knife, cutting boards, really simple, bowl, fork, super simple, lemon reamer, really simple. Next step up, these sprouting jars are key. But some of my favorite stuff, honestly, if you couldn't tell, is the vacuum blender and the vacuum sealable lids. It has changed the game. Our smoothies taste different. They're thicker, they're creamier. Our soups are so much better. Oh my gosh, the sauces, the dressings that we make, they're so different, blended under vacuum. So that is another, you know, investment. I mean, depending on where you are, you know, it's a couple $100 for this system. And, you know, it only fits on the old style, or, you know, I'm not sure what you want to, this is the professional series, but it's not the accent series of the Vitamix, right? So that's one thing too, is, you know, I'm not sure if this particular company, I know there's like a couple other vacuum blending machines out there too that, you know, I don't know the names of them. You know, our buddy John Kohler is really kind of the one who turned us on to both these lids and this BioChef. And, you know, the link that we have is through his store, Discount Juicers. And, you know, he's a wealth of knowledge. He's really helped inspire us in a lot of ways in our life here as a raw vegan. But this here completely changed the game. I mean, both Liz and I are like, wow, we should have invested on this years ago. This is amazing. But essentially, that's it, you guys. This is all you need. No, you could probably, you know, get by without having all of these things, but essentially, these are the most important things I feel like. I mean, but you know, I was trying to go in order. Like I said, most crucial, knife and cutting board. You know, you got to be able to cut your stuff up, right? You know, and then have a big bowl to put your stuff in. That's huge. And if you've got a favorite bowl, like, shoot, a bowl will last you an entire lifetime if you take care of it, right? So yeah, all this kind of equipment, you know, it's an investment. It's an investment into your health, and if you take care of it, it'll last you for years. All right, well, that's all I have for you in this particular video. I do hope you got something from it. If you liked it, make sure you hit the like button. That really helps the channel out, and share it with your friends and family if they're, you know, they would be into, you know, this kind of content. And, you know, make sure you hit the bell and click the notifications and all that kind of stuff. You know, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, right? You know, all the good stuff. If you like this content, if you want to see more content from me, I'm really striving to be as consistent as I can this year. I really have a lot to share, and sometimes it can be tricky to be consistent in life and to constantly put out content. And, you know, if you know my wife, Lissa, Raw Food Romance, man, she is just like a firecracker. So I really want to keep up with her. She's crushing it, putting out such amazing content for you guys. And I feel like I need to put my voice out here as well. So I'm glad you're here, and I hope to see you again. And be sure to check out that Ultimate Vegan Health and Weight Loss Bundle. That is a screaming deal. My gosh, I cannot believe, but we're so honored to be a part of these bundles. These bundles are amazing. Wealth of information. Like I said, over $6,300 worth of stuff for 49 bucks, man. Like, this is killer stuff. These are individuals around the world who sell these products for their full price. And I mean, gosh, like, you know, you're gonna get courses in there that are over $200, $300. So it is a screaming deal. Make sure you check it out. Over 120 different pieces of content, different items, amazing stuff. So, all right, you guys, we will see you on the next one. Love you.